Hello, this is Brian Massey. I'm going to talk to you today about Dana Coverstone's Watchman dream. It's a Watchman and the Firewind, he called it. I'm going to give you my interpretation of that. That dream's kind of long, so I'm just going to kind of scroll through it and you can read it yourself if you pause it, or you can just go and watch the YouTube video. And he also has a book that I think he presented it into that without an interpretation. So you can watch the video or read it here or read it online. Okay, so my interpretation of this dream is the setting is an 80s high school classroom. And there were young men and older women and many teenagers, but no children. The higher level class, but basic education for adults. Not children, but not college or graduate either. There were green chalkboards and black chalkboards. The chalkboards is where we write the truth of society. In 1840s, black chalkboards made from slate rock, which is made by God, were used, and green chalkboards fabricated by man were introduced in the 1960s. During this time, there was a fundamental change in our culture on what truth is based on, God's wisdom versus man's wisdom. This test has obviously been going on for a while, according to him in his dream. There is no doubt God is testing us as a country. There was a very large clock. We need to time ourselves. Not much time left, so stay busy and finish the work, is what he was being told. There was a powerful click. I could hear this click, click, click sound every time the second hand. Time is ticking, running out, getting close for us as a country. The watchman, watching the clock, indicates a chronology of events in this dream. So his dreams, several of them have a chronology of events that's quite important. I think this is one of the most important ones that gives us a chronology of events for our country. So that's the watchman watching the clock indicates a chronology of events. This is the 11th hour. So I guess the test started at 11:40. And 40 is a test of faith. We entered the 11th hour during the 80s. An 80s style classroom where the test was going on for a while. So this test began in the 80s. 11:40 is a symbol of today, because that's when he was having the dream. It was at 11:40 in the dream, and he had the dream in 2021. So it's 40 years later, basically, from the 80s, from 1980, 81. So the test, the time of testing. Just as there are 12 parts in a year, there are 12 parts in a minute. The second hand on the clock passes through. Each symbolizes a calendar year. So that's why the dream is a chronology of events, because it's symbolizing those minutes are each symbolizing a year. The 11th hour is a warning to get it right before it's too late. And 11:50, later in his dream, is very late. The watchman sounds the alarm. Alarms began to go off. He said the alarms began to go off and hit 11:50, and that alarm lasted until about 11:51. And some of the test takers stood up and stretched. In 10 years after this dream, something that is alarming to believers will occur. So this dream was in 2021, it's now 2024. 7 years from now, some will be persecuted. That lasted about to 11:51. So that's the year 2031 to 2032. After the alarm, test takers stood up and stretched, reaching out to Christ and to others. So that's the symbol of. The alarm goes off again 4 years later. He even stopped when the alarm went off at 11:55 and simply stared at the clock for the entire minute. When he turned around, there were tears running down his face. This would be the year 2036, and he's waiting for a full minute the whole year to see what will happen. Then there's crying. Crying, symbol of war cry. In Ezekiel, we see the scripture, it says down here, in his right hand is the lot marked for Jerusalem, to set up battering rams, to open the mouth calling for destruction, to lift up the voice with a war cry. to set battering rams against the gates, to put up assault ramps, and to build siege walls. Ezekiel 21:22. That's why I gave one of my dreams, one of my books, the title War Cry, because it's symbolic of America declaring war. In this case, it could be that war, it could be a civil war, not sure. At 11:58, it's 11:58 in the dream, and the countdown alarm sounded that was different from others, as it was constant, almost annoying sound. That was filling the room and getting even louder. The alarm sounded that was different from others, a different form of persecution. You can see Dana's precision dream for greater details on his persecution in and around 2039, the year 2039. Also, Dana's hospital being struck by lightning dream and a spear striking the church dreams all symbolize the persecution of the church. I should give it a pretty good interpretation. I heard the classroom test monitor say, 1 minute remains. Please finish the task to the best of your abilities. So this is 2040. At the end, he's telling him to be instant. So we have scripture, be instant in season and out of season. He has another dream that tells him to be instant. And that may be different. But 2 Timothy 4:2, scripture. It means to be ready at all times to preach the word, whether it's safe, in season, or not, which is out of season. That's year 2040. The countdown until midnight, the darkest hour for our country, is 20 years after this dream, after 2021. So it'd be 2041. The bottom floor falls out at that point. So it's a symbol of stop being successful, taking losses, ending abruptly. So it's the United States is currently, which a map is a symbol of the current events, at war. It was billowing. Billowing is a symbol of war, which we also saw in the Washington dream. And the economy is flowing, and America continues to propagate, which is rippling, its national identity beliefs on world issues. And its identity beliefs is almost like a flag. But nonetheless, despite all of this, so it's falling into a depression in the darkness below. America is. Fall is also a symbol of decay, decline, old age, and even death, with association of things being past their prime, as in America. The map is also a symbol of unity of our nation, and the map following could be a symbol of the loss of that. Lastly, there are women outside in the dream. They're like Baal worshippers in the days of Elijah, ones that cut themselves and began screaming even louder. They fall into the vortex in the dream. The vortex is a cross point of a battle between two sides. There's two battle between two sides would be probably the battle within the U.S., a civil war, some civil unrest like that. But despite that, beliefs are sustained, remain standing on what appeared to be air. This could also be symbolic of rapture. Okay, so that's my interpretation of Dana's Coverstone's dream, his Watchman dream. Thanks for listening.